My name is Brandon Baldwin, and this analysis was conducted for Introduction to Sociology during spring 2018. The title of the article I analyzed was Assessing the Risk of Future Psychological Abuse and Predicting the Accuracy of Battered Women's Predictions by Bell Margaret, Canella Lauren, Goodman, Lisa, Dutton, Mary. It was published on October 4, 2007 in the Journal of Family Violence. The research for this journal entry is about abstract building on the studies of demonstrating battered women's accuracy in assessing the damage of being physically re-abused. This study was examined on how accurately victims realize their risk of psychological abuse later on in their life for the future. As described in the textbook, an independent variable is something that causes a change, and a dependent variable is the effect. In the study, the independent variables are described as PTSD symptoms, recency of physical violence, and the degree of stalking and psychological abuse. The dependent variable of the study was victims' accuracy into predicting psychological abuse in the future. The research believed that the women who are battered are more subjected to getting back together still with the person and still take on the abuse that comes with it, because that is what they know and live by for years. The research method used to gather the data for this research was to study the people that were pulled in from the streets for the first interview data and give them an 18-month follow-up. The study took 4.5 years to complete, and participants were of 406 female IPV victims looking for help from a shelter, civil court, and/or criminal court in mid-Atlantic City. The researchers started to begin the process of petitioning for a civil protection order as the first part, and then the last thing they did for the people was they interviewed them and exited the courtroom after getting the final deposition of a criminal case against the participants' abusive partner and perpetrator. Their predictions were true by if she had PTSD symptoms that were recently experienced physical violence and has experienced severe stalking and psychological abuse in the past, that they would go back to their partner. One ethical concern that the researchers were aware of was that they needed consent from the participants in order for the study to happen. And with them being battered women, they also have to watch out what they do to make them feel comfortable and not be aware of what may scare them and bring up PTSD. An element of the study that would interest a sociologist is the fact that the study is to examine victims' accuracy in predicting the future experience of psychological abuse, which is all in the brain and what environment they may be placed in. This interests because of all the brain and how everything works and functions, and then the other element of the study that would interest a psychologist is both studies found that the severe symptoms of PTSD were connected with predictions of higher risk, and the symptoms' severeness did not increase the likelihood that women would be incorrect in their data collected by the researchers. This focuses on the individual, and that's what interests the psychological study. And then the use of the second article that I found was called Factors Predicting Relationship Satisfaction, Investment, and Commitment When Women Report High Prevalence of Psychological Abuse. It was published and available to look at on March 21st, 2012, and the article's major finding that relates to the first article is what causes these predictions and what goes along with what the study tries to find. And that stated that they go back because that's their life and that's all they live by and move by, and they don't know what else to do if they don't. And it helped me be more in detail to the first article to find out more about the factors.